Your phone number. Hello guys, welcome big to another video. I've been on a little hiatus. I haven't uploaded to this channel in a few months, and I hope you'll forgive me for that. I've just fallen off for a long time. But I'm back with some fresh new perspectives on some relatively old ideas on the same shit. What's the saying? Same topic, different delivery, or whatever. I'm over explaining this. So anyway, I've been running my internet cafe for a few months, and one of the things I've noticed is that people don't really prioritize their phone number and email as highly as they should, even though those are things that they put on their CVs. To me, it makes sense that if you have such an important, if you have a way for people to contact you for a very important purpose, like the fact that they may be offering you a job or inviting you to an interview, then it makes sense that if you were to lose your phone, the first thing you should do is reopen that channel of communication, right? So that you are easily found if necessary. Yet a lot of people just keep making new emails, getting new phone numbers every time they lose an old one, and they don't realize what a host of problems this comes with, especially in our country, South Africa, where a lot of government services are now becoming digitized. There's a lot you can do for yourself on the internet, but unfortunately, you always have to prove it's you logging in. And those two things are two of, let's say, 3 or 4 ways that you can prove your identity when accessing these portals, like the Home Affairs website or the SARS website, the SASA website, stuff like that. So, without further ado, this is today's essay. Your phone number, and I'm reading from the Facebook post I made on this yesterday. So anyway, your phone number and email are as important as your ID number. Look, bro, I hope you don't mind me reading this, right? Because I'm sure you're here to listen to this, not watch this pretty face. I know I'm very fun to look at, but what's more important here is the information. So just open your ears. It doesn't matter if you close your eyes, unless it's for the edits. So anyway, your phone number and email are as important as your ID number. Nowadays, if you lose your phone, you cannot afford not to do a SIM swap, or it's going to bring you a bunch of problems in your life. I can't tell you how many of my customers would have fewer problems in their lives if they just kept their old phone numbers. It's in the tens, the high tens, like 70, 80 people at this point. You see, people are missing out on grant money, job opportunities, and access to important government websites simply because they can't receive a one-time PIN. And here are some stories to illustrate my point. Names have been changed to avoid it seeming as if I'm throwing shade to my customers. So, story number 1. Zintle is a dude in his 40s who used to sell stationery around my neighborhood. And a couple of years ago, he came to me for help with accessing his SASA SRD grant money. So he hadn't been receiving SMSs notifying him that his payment had come through for months on end because he had lost his old phone and he didn't do a SIM swap within the required time. So they ended up giving his number to someone else. I explained to Zintle that he either needs to do a SIM swap or go to the SASA offices in person with his ID and proof of residence so that they can change the phone number on his profile to his current number. But Zintle could not remember his old phone number, so he couldn't request a SIM swap. And to date, he still hasn't fixed his grant issue because it would be too much of a hassle to go back and forth from the SASA offices. There are thousands of rands locked away in a bank somewhere because of a missing phone number. Story number 2. Mohammed had just turned 18 and he wanted to apply for the Smart ID card on the Home Affairs portal. Unfortunately, Mohammed had gotten robbed a few months prior, and being a teenager, he assumed his phone number wasn't that important. He could just get a new SIM card. However, after filling out the registration form on the Home Affairs website, the system showed an error that said his ID number already had a profile on the Home Affairs online portal. He remembered creating a profile with his cousin, but they both had forgotten his password. And because he didn't have the old phone number, he couldn't reset the password because there was nowhere to send an OTP. So eventually, he had to go in person to the Home Affairs offices. What could have been a 15 Rand chore, because I charge 15 Rands to help my customers make a booking on the website, it ended up becoming a 100 Rand trip because he had to go to the offices with his mother in person to apply for the ID and reset his login details. And they still sent him back home to apply for it online anyway. All he did was reset his phone number so that he could do it himself now. So don't be like Mohammed. Get that SIM swap ASAP. And story number 3. Anele was trying to get her SARS tax number printed for an important job interview the next morning. She had an e-filing profile that she had made before her previous job, but she registered on it years ago and she hadn't had to use it ever since. Somewhere along the way, she changed her email address and her phone number, not keeping in mind all the things that she had registered for using that email and number, like these job-seeking websites, the Job Rapidos, LinkedIn's, Indeeds, and stuff like that. So Anele came to my shop around 7 p.m. and she was frantic. We tried to log into her e-filing profile, but it wouldn't accept her current email and number as usernames, and she didn't remember her password either. So being unable to reset her login details, it meant that she would have to first go to the SARS offices that were near our neighborhood and get it printed there. But there would be no time to do that, to get her certificate printed and still make it to the interview in time. So she ended up going without it. I myself am not speaking from a high horse either. I've made this mistake too, and I've learned from it painfully. I have several email accounts that are holding so much pertinent information, important information, even just sentimental value stuff, but I can't even log in because I've lost so many phone numbers along the years that I was using to register for those emails, and now those phone numbers have been reallocated. I may still be able to get into the emails if I email Gmail somehow, but it's unlikely. It's going to be very difficult to prove my identity and that it's my email that I'm trying to get into. So all of this, missing out on all of this and losing so much information, so many songs, so much customer information, all because I didn't get a SIM swap. So whether it's your email address, your SARS portal, your SIRA portal, Home Affairs, SASA, even Hollywood Beds, or your company registration, SA Youth, all of these job-seeking websites, you need to keep your phone number and email safe when dealing with these kinds of things, or it will make your life so much harder for no reason at all if you lose them. Don't be an idiot like us. Learn from me, Anele, Mohammed, and Zintle. So anyway, that's it for this video. If you got any value out of this, stick around for more insightful takes like this by hitting that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, or you're seeking guidance, or you just want to learn a few neat tricks of how you can keep your information safe, doing cloud backups, or how to never lose your emails, setting up what is this thing, man, that email you said to retrieve your email in case you forget it. Yeah, if you want to set up all of that stuff, just hit me up in the comments. I'll try and respond to every comment, or you can just DM me on my Instagram. You'll find my Instagram link in the bio. Anyway, that's it for this video. Peace.